Oh, just
Yeah, just that one.
so definitely gotta do that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. That's just what Julian said. I think they found a way to get
Money.
I think someone did a good amount of money, so that was why we found that out probably like a few weeks back.
Okay.
So that's kind of our biggest thing. But
Okay.
like, obviously,
Yeah, that's a lot.
yeah, it's a lot. So.
That's like the biggest thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the impacts overall was
Yeah.
was there not three like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
one three SAO.
Okay, that's what I was just wondering. I was like, is it the whole thing or like?
It's pretty much the whole thing. But
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not 21. But I guess that will have, I don't know, we'll do it for something.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, it's
Oh, word.
Your reps pulling in, so you can sit over there though. I think that's where we're gonna switch y'all. Appreciate it, man. There's a copy of last year's that you can just go off of.
So it's not the priority sheet because that was like number.
that was this is changed.
Oh. Okay.
I would probably follow what we're doing right.
Okay.
Because this is what Charlie did because we've had to change some things out.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was made a while ago.
Okay. That was just the one that was in somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was whenever we submitted it.
Yeah.
And the final
Yeah.
submission. That's what we had.
Okay.
We've changed it since then.
Okay.
So,
I've only got 5 of these so far, so I guess I'll just call them in order of what I have. See. Okay.
what?
Address. Just ignore that part.
Sure.
Why did we put second?
One shot though, just to make it easier to pass that microphone. Let's do it if y'all don't have people that you know are needing to occupy these seats. Let's do like church style and just kind of move towards the middle, and because y'all are gonna be passing those microphones as you are speaking, so that'll make it easier for y'all to pass and not have to pass across the large gaps. I don't even really know if I need my computer, but I'm still waiting on that one guy.
Good evening. Each member of the Senate Budget and Finance Committee has spent time studying all of the SAP budgets. At the conclusion of this process, it is the goal of this committee to present to the SGA Senate a fair allocation of the student activity fees to each SAP. I would like to thank each committee member, SAP, and advisor for their hard work and cooperation during the past few months. Tonight's hearing will be conducted in accordance with the Budget and Finance Hearings Policy and Procedure. Rules of order. The following rules of order shall be adhered to at all times at the discretion of the Budget and Finance Chair. When recognized to speak, the person with the floor should stand, say their name and title, speak, and sit when finished. Discussion on any given line item shall be limited to 15 minutes, at which time the chair shall table discussion on the current line item and proceed with the hearing. If needed, the chair has the authority to remove any participant or member of the audience from the hearing room. At this time, we will begin with each student activity portfolio presenting for their organization so that we can learn a little more about what tonight's student activity fee allocations are going towards. Will emerge. Please come forward and share your presentation with us. Please remember that each SAP is allowed 3 minutes to present.
And if y'all would like to control your own slides, feel free to come over here and do that from my computer, or I can do it for you either way. You just hit the arrow.
Awesome, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Holland, and I'm the Vice President of Administration representing Emerge at Auburn. I just wanted to start out with a brief overview in case you haven't had the chance to interact with Emerge yet. So to start off, Emerge is a student leadership organization led by students for students, and we have the goal of helping students cultivate their own unique leadership style. And we do this through a variety of avenues, but I've summed it up into 3 different things, and they are events, programs, and retreats. So events is sort of self-explanatory, but it's going to be one-off events that have the goal of helping students know what their leadership style is and kind of getting them introduced to leadership. Programs are going to be a series of weekly meetings over the course of 8 weeks, and these will offer the students the opportunity to go deeper in their leadership. And finally, retreats is going to consist of 2 different types of retreats, which are wind shape and experiential learning trips, and these will be open to any student on Auburn's campus. To support these three main elements, we're going to be using our promotions, which is our final line item, and this is going to be basically all of the marketing that Emerge does is going to come out of our promotions line item. So I would like to thank everyone for their time, and I'm looking forward to a great night.
Next, we have service programs.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jackson Childs. I'm the BNF representative for service programs. And just want to give a brief overview. So I'll start with kind of our introduction with our mission statement. So our mission overall is to provide students the ability to develop and explore their leadership skills while serving our campus, community, state, and beyond through a variety of programs. And this is done through our 3 organizations that we have. It's AUDM, BBM Food Drive, which I'm in, and then Impact. And so I'll kind of talk about some highlights that we had from this past year for each organization. So for AUDM, we raised just over $276,000 for the Piedmont Columbus Children's Hospital. And for main event, which a lot of y'all have probably heard of, we had 354 attendants, and our staff size is around 150 Auburn students. And so for BBM Food Drive this past year, we raised a little bit over 550,000 pounds for the food bank of East Alabama. And this is actually the highest poundage we've had in Auburn history. And we are the largest student philanthropy with 624 students. Next is going to be Impact. So this recently merged into one SAO from 3 former ones. And so here we have over 1,000 volunteer opportunities, and just under 6,000 service hours completed. And then next we have Give Pulse, which is a way that we log kind of our service. And so we had just under 2,500 volunteers logged, over 16,000 service hours this past year. And so some of the increases we have for this year for AUDM, a lot of it was we had to raise some event costs due to inflation. Also a desire to kind of host more events. They're trying to host one event a month just to keep everyone engaged throughout the year. And also some shifts for the Children's Miracle Network, changing needs of their organization. For BBM Food Drive, it's our 30-year anniversary, so we have more opportunities and events planned than ever, as well as we're trying to market to all 50 states and not just the state of Alabama. And we had some exponential growth last year that was higher than expected, and so we're just trying to combat that as well. And so for impact, like I was talking about earlier, we had a SAO merge. It was formerly three different organizations that is now one, and so we have a higher number of service opportunities and events because of that as well. So thank you all for y'all's time.
Next, we have UPC.
Okay, hey y'all, my name's Lily Cobine. I'm the Vice President of Finance for UPC this year, and I like to start these presentations just by kind of putting into numbers so you can see the perspective of the impact these events had. We've had about 11,200 attendees to all UPC events, with 6,000 unique student attendees, with 2,500 students attending more than one UPC event. So we're reaching a very broad part of Auburn's campus. What exactly is UPC? I'm sorry, y'all, I'm a little sick. What is UPC? The University Program Council, better known as UPC, is Auburn University's student-led programming board. We work to provide a positive and engaging atmosphere within which students can build relationship and enjoy themselves. So basically, to put that in simpler terms, we are the programming board. Basically, the majority of the events you see on campus are from us, and we just provide those throughout the entire week, especially during the first 56. You'll see us basically every day and throughout the year so that you have that option that is free and accessible to all Auburn students. We have 7 committees that work hard to meet these programming interests that consist of campus traditions, films, First 56, outreach, special events, Tiger Nights, and video games. That's 82 committee members, 31 leadership members, and 7 executive members. What exactly do these committees do? What I've been saying this whole time, those niche or like major events that you see on campus. We have pop-ups during classes. We have around 4 or 5 concerts a year. We have Earth Day Extravaganza, which was our most heavily attended event this past year with over 1,200 attendees. And then just to kind of look at the budget, because if you look at those numbers I showed you at the beginning and then divided by our budget from last year, which was around $790,000, that's around $100 per student to attend over 100 events. So you're really getting experiences that you would not get outside of University Program Council. But that's all I have. Thank you, and War Eagle.
Thank you. Next, we have BSU.
Hey, my name is Dayton Malone, and I'm representing the Black Student Union as the Vice President of Finance and Administration for this year. So just a little overview of the purpose of BSU. So the purpose is to represent the interests and concerns of Black students at Auburn University, to bring together all aspects of Black student life for the purpose of improving the campus environment and to encourage the involvement of Black students in all campus activities. So just a quick little glimpse into our main events that we do. So I would say our staple event for the year is Jazz and Poetry, which is comprised of students performing, whether it's, they have a song they want to sing or poetry that they want to perform. They have an open space to do that. It's like a black tie type gala. We have food catered. Soul Food Bazaar. We want to educate people on Black customs and traditions. So we have food catered for that event as well. Usually like a DJ, that kind of thing. So the Black History Month speaker, as most of you guys are familiar with, we partner with a couple of the other organizations to bring a prominent Black figure who has some kind of lesson to teach. Tiger Stomp, which is the collaboration with NPHC. So this is similar to like a Greek scene type event. So we rent out the Coliseum and have several teams from our Black Greek organizations participate in a step show style event. And then Fall Forum is more of like our town hall type event. So we want to have effective conversations, and we actually want to pull action items out of that we can bring back to campus and SGA and stuff we can actually work on as a campus community. And then finally, we have the MLK Day of Service, which is also another collaboration where we send a group of students to Selma, as seen in that picture below, to just do various service projects around the community. But thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have ISO.
Excuse me, I have a presentation. Should I
Okay.
send it to?
All good.
Without presentation?
Can you do it without it?
Basically, yeah, I can do. Actually, I can send it. If someone else presents, I will send it then.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's perfect. Let's have SGA come present.
How are y'all? So my name is Ashton Dickinson, and I serve as the treasurer on behalf of SGA. So to kick us off, I'm just going to go through some pictures. So right here's a picture of call-outs. We have them from more organizations than just SGA, and it's a tradition across Auburn that we all know and love. And here we have Abi. Abi makes thousands of appearances each semester. He's a great part to us, and we love him so much, so I wanted to include him. And these are pictures from Heyday. Heyday will be coming up this year on October 18th, and this is just another tradition that we know and love. We get stickers, we get food, we get drinks. We really just get to love on one another here at Auburn. This is Safety Walk. We did this last semester, and this was like one of my favorite traditions. It was my first time doing it, so I wanted to show them some love on behalf of initiatives. And this is Freshman Forum. I know right now we're going through the process of Freshman Forum. Freshman Forum is really the foundation of providing students with an introduction to SGA, letting them go through mentorships, work on their own initiatives and projects. And this is Up All Night, another one of my favorite traditions. We all know it. It takes place in RBD. I usually, avoid RBD during finals week, but this is always a great incentive to come. And it keeps students around, keeps students engaged, and gives them that pick me up. And this is the cabinet retreat that took place 2 weekends ago. It was actually a retreat for SGA Senate and SGA Cabinet, and we were all together to come up in one room, bounce ideas off of each other, go through breakout sessions, and really just interact with each other and help continue bridging that gap between Senate and Cabinet. So getting into kind of what SGA has been up to and about the numbers. So a few of the projects that we worked on, SGA was able to partner with RecRe to bring loanable technology to various areas on campus by allowing students to have access to the things that they need. SGA also established a partnership with Regions Next Step and brought a suite of financial literacy resources to Auburn's campus. And our team was also able to raise funds to renovate the group therapy spaces and student counseling and psychological services. So getting into the numbers for the 2022-2023 school year, the spring 2023 SGA election had a turnout of 10,371 students, which is 34.24% of the student body. We distributed 64,500 shakers. Heyday name tags distributions were 8,600. And Abi made 1,012 appearances. We sold 1,908 rings, served 1,860 donuts, and Avi's Instagram even gained 12,226 new followers. So I think that's pretty hype. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything from us. And just to kind of wrap it up and tie everything in, this is the mission statement. So SGA truly is put in place to serve, promote, and unify. So our goal is serving and promoting the individual student, unifying all that is Auburn. Here's any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashton. Next, we will have student media.
Okay. Hey, y'all. My name is Sydney Bowden. I previously served as the copy editor for the Glomerata, and now that I've graduated and started my master's program, I've stayed on as the BNF rep. So with student media, we are representing tonight 4 of the 5 student media organizations, one of which is here tonight. So thank you, Eagle Eye TV, for being here and covering our session tonight. So with Eagle Eye TV, as I just said, they are the student-led television station. Weagle 91.1 FM is the student-led radio station. The Circle is our literary and art magazine, and the Glomerata is the official campus yearbook. So student media's mission as a whole is not only to share media and student creations with the student body, but also to provide professional experiences to the members who are a part of our organizations, especially with Eagle Eye and Weagle, all 4 organizations that are represented here. They get hands-on experience with some tools that they would be using in the field if they were to go on to work in media. Some of our students have been hired by the Weather Channel, ESPN, CNN, so it definitely supplies some awesome experiences for them as they enter into the workforce. Just some fast facts to give y'all an idea of what we are up to. Last year, the Glomerata distributed 8,000 copies in 2.5 days. That was super quick, so this year we're planning on distributing 9,000 copies just based on demand and increased enrollment. The Circle this year, super exciting, is celebrating its 50th anniversary. So they'll have an event later on this year where they will have live readings and performances. So be sure to show up and show out for that. Weagle plans on hosting 2 concerts on campus this year. And last year they won an Abbey. Eagle Eye TV was nominated also for several awards last year, including the Pacemaker Awards and the Intercollegiate Broadcasting Association Awards. And this is just a picture of membership. So we have almost 350 students in total across these 4 student media organizations. So hopefully what you're able to gather here is that student media is comprised of intentional organizations, intentional with the things that we do and how we build our budgets. Every dollar that we spend is tied to specific items and equipment that will help the individuals in the organizations and the organizations themselves grow and thrive. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Sydney. Next, we have student organizations.
Hi guys, my name is Sam Vaughn. I'm the organizations board chair for this year, and I'm representing the student organizations team for this BNF cycle. So firstly, I'll go over kind of who we are and who we serve. So student orgs consist of 2 different SAOs, involvement ambassadors and organizations board. Involvement ambassadors are the smiling faces up in the involvement suite whenever you walk in, and their primary goal is to connect students' passions to a organization on campus. If they have a passion, there's probably an organization to connect them with. A board is kind of on the back end of things. Organizations board is the process through which organizations do funding reimbursements for any events that they hold. We also help organizations with being an active part of a campus community through, establishing themselves as orgs and then going to that permanent step, getting that permanent step. So we also serve all the 550 student organizations, not just those 2. All the SAOs, RSOs, and SSOs we help serve on campus. So we really holistically look at all the organizations on campus, and we want to support them in any way that we can. Couple of the major offerings that we have. So firstly, we do some stuff with AU Involved website management, website training. That's really important because every organization on campus has to be on AU Involved if they want to bring some students in and help them, grow their student number. We also help with those funding reimbursements. So a lot of these organizations need help financially with holding events. So we do funding reimbursements through organizations board. We also provide organizational leadership training and support. So we do leadership training. We do different types of things that can help student organizations learn XYZ about how to run, about how to lead, about anything that they would really need help with. We hold workshops for them throughout the year. We also do advisor trainings and advisor support. So behind all these organizations is an advisor that really is passionate about the students that are part of their organization. We also support those advisors. We tell them how to best support their students, how to best help their students, and how to best be a good advisor and utilize those passions that they have for their organizations. We also have different programs throughout the year. So we have the involvement fair annually. That's really, really big fun thing that organizations can come on campus all in one spot on one day and get students to be involved with whatever they would want to be involved in. It gets different organizations' names out there that, might not necessarily have been out in front of students before. We also have the organizations week, the O Week. That's another thing that we hold. And then we have our O Days, which is super fun. All these help student organizations connect with other students that, they might not have seen before in the past. It's out right there in front of you, right there. You can talk to people. It's a really, really fun thing. It's a social event for a lot of these organizations, and it's really, really great. For an overview of our budget, we've got a couple of areas here that we have some growth in. So firstly, the involvement fair. We anticipate a lot of growth. This year was a great success. We're anticipating it growing next year. Through just different initiatives that we've been taking. For Organizations Board, we would like to help Organizations Board be a little bit more approachable, a little bit more accessible, so we want to support their internal operations through a little bit of funding there. The involvement ambassadors have doubled their amount of people and also added three new vice president positions so that they can increase their scope realistically. And they have a desk now down at the bottom of the student media suite as well. So that's a little bit of growth there. And then for marketing and office supplies, we just want to get our name out there. We want to be approachable, accessible, easy to be with, easy to be around. Just a little bit of outreach for that. But yeah, I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam. Finally, we have ISO.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Sorry, microphone isn't working. My name is Jakongir Sadif. I am Vice President of Finance and Administration at International Student Organization, and the name of the organization says for itself. It's about international students, improving diversity, promoting multinational cooperation, and ensure that our campus, as international students on our campus, easily interact with local cultures and with other cultures as well. So basically, I'm very short. I want to present our key signature events that we hold every year. So first one is Social Hour. It's our biggest signature event, which is held every Friday at 4 a.m. From August till beginning of May, so the whole year, every Friday, and where we serve food and students present their cultures, and we have lots of games and performances. And second signature event is Peace Dinner, which is a one-time event. This year we're gonna organize it on November the 2nd. You're all invited, by the way. We're gonna have more than 600 people during the event. Last year we had about the same number of people. Oh, by the way, I want to mention that Social Hour every week we have at least 150 people. So you see our events are rather big. And third signature event is World's Fair, which is a spring semester event. And during that fair, we do different student organizations, international student organizations, as well as American, present their culture again. And we also have soccer tournament and mental health day, but as you understand what event they are, these are about soccer and mental health. So basically this is it. Thank you very much, and good luck to all of us.
Thanks so much. You go. Yeah. This BNF final budget hearing is now called to order. The first order of business is to state the amount of student activity fee money available for allocation tonight. That number is $2,419,692. The total amount of money being requested by the student activity portfolios is $2,633,680.91. This means that we are short by $213,988.91, which will need to be cut from the overall budget request in order to have a balanced budget. The next order of business is to decide how much money to set aside for the Reserve Fund and Program Expansion Fund for the sake of providing SAPs with opportunities for growth and flexibility throughout the year. As a reminder, the Reserve Fund is used for one-time requests, while the Program Expansion Fund is used to increase existing line items or create new line items that your organization hopes to add into your budget for annual usage. Since we do not have a surplus that can be used for the reserve fund and the program expansion fund this year, the Budget and Finance Committee has decided to set aside an additional $50,000 that will be used for PEFs and RFRs this year. Since we are short by $213,988.91 plus the $50,000 we are setting aside for PEFs and RFRs, a total of $263,988.91 will need to be cut from the overall budget request in order to have a balanced budget. We will now proceed with the cuts process. First, we will begin with friendly cuts. SAPs, until they are no longer willing, will take turns offering cuts to themselves. You may offer more than one cut during each turn. When you are no longer willing to make friendly cuts, you should say pass when it's your turn. To make a friendly cut, the SAP representative will have their BNF senator share a line item name, the current amount requested in that line item, the amount of the proposed cut, and the line item balance that if that proposed cut is approved. The senator will stand, say their name and title, and following parliamentary procedure will make a motion to cut the requested amount from the SAP's budget. The motion needs to be made and properly seconded, and then discussion can occur. Once discussion has ended, the committee will move to a vote. This process continues until either the overall BNF budget is balanced or until no SAP is willing to make any more friendly cuts. Are there any SAPs willing to offer friendly cuts? Is anyone willing to go first? I'll pass them the mic. And the BNF senator should say it, so.
Okay.
And so if you look on the screen, we have the SAP, the line item, subline item. So we'll put those amounts of the line item into this sheet, and then the proposed cut and the vote, and then this will dwindle our amount down as we go throughout the night.
Should you just wait and just do only that one first? Yeah. Okay. Smith COA, we have chosen to cut $1,150 from the retreat. Oh, the freshman form. Oh.
Do you mind going in this order for us?
Oh,
please?
yes. Sorry for shoot. Is that okay? Okay. Perfect. Okay, perfect. So the line item is freshman forum, and the sub line item is retreats. Currently in the line item is $1,500, and we moved to cut $1,150.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. It is so moved.
Jones Service, I move to cut $20,000 on the line item impact alternative brakes. Sorry. Do you want impact or just service? Yeah. Alternative brakes and subline item international trips. And 20,000. Oh, sorry, 21,000. That's my mistake. Yeah. And then cut 20,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. It is so moved.
Schlemmer Student Organizations. I apologize.
We would like to completely cut line item 9, which is AU involve auxiliary. By it's $2,000.
How much is in the line item now?
$2,000.
And cut entirely?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. Aye. It is so moved.
Smith Engineering. I move to cut UPC line item first 56, sub line item reimbursement fund. There's currently $5,000 for that line item, and we're cutting the whole thing.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. It is so moved.
Tele Human Sciences, for media, line item, Eagle Eye, and then marketing. It's currently 1,000, and we can take away 500.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. Aye. It is so moved.
And then I have another one, if that's okay. For Eagle Eye, CNN News, it's currently $10,960, and we can take away $9,000. And the line item is software.
Line item or sub-line item?
Line item, sorry.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. Aye. It is so moved.
Smith Engineering. I move to cut SAP UPC line item executive, sub line item external collaboration expenses. That line item is currently $10,000, and we're cutting $5,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. Aye. It is so moved.
Night in Business, SAP's leadership. Line item is programs. The sub-line item is manuals. Currently in the line item is $3,000. We moved to cut $2,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. Aye. It is so moved.
Jones Service, line item impact alternative brakes, subline item international trips. Currently in the line item 1,000 and cutting 1,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. Is so moved.
Riles Agriculture, SAP BSU, line item NPHC collaboration Tiger Stomp. Oh, sorry, yeah, NPHC collaboration, and then subline item Tiger Stomp. Current amount is $49,000, and proposed to cut $4,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Night in business, SAP leadership, line item programs, subline item meetings and trainings. The amount in it right now is 9,000, and we're willing to cut 2,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. Aye. So moved.
Schlimmer business, student organizations, line item advisor support. Currently in line item $800. Proposed amount to cut $800.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Smith, CLA, SGA, line item Miss Auburn. The subline item is project and supplies. Currently, there's 5,500 in the budget. We'd like to remove 2,500.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved. Okay, at this point, we're going to stay with friendly cuts, but we're going to move in more of a systematic fashion. So we'll start down there with BSU and then work your way up and back around kind of in a circle. And if you don't have anything at this moment to offer, just say pass. So BSU.
Riles Agriculture, SAP BSU, a line item NPHC collaboration, subline item Tiger Stomp. We'd be willing to cut another 2,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. Aye. So moved. Pass. Emerge.
Night in business. Line item is programs. Subline item is meetings and trainings. We now have 7,000, and we are willing to cut the other 2,000 more.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. Aye. So moved. UPC.
Smith Engineering, UPC line item is campus traditions. Subline item is Dia de los Muertos. So it's Dia, DE, yeah. Vendor contracts also under subline item. And then it currently has 3,500 and we are cutting 1,000.
Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
We're going to keep going. So line item is also campus traditions again. Subline item is unnamed spring event number 2 and vendor contracts as well. There's currently 2,500 and we're cutting all of that.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
And then we're staying in the same line item and subline item, except instead of vendor contracts, we're doing spring supplies, or event supplies, excuse me. And there's currently 500 there, and we're cutting all of that also.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
We're going to keep going. Line item first 56. Subline item unnamed fall event number 1. Event supplies. There's currently 1,200 there, and we're cutting all of that.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
Keep going. So same line item and subline item, except now we're in food and beverage instead of event supplies. And Brad, do you want me to just, when they're pretty much the same, do you want those batched together, or do you want it? Okay, I feel like that would make things a little easier. There's 300 there now, and we're cutting all of that.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
Keep going. So same line item, first 56 again. This time subline item is unnamed fall event number 2, and we're cutting food and beverage and event supplies again. One at a time. Okay. There's currently 3,500 there, and we're cutting all of that.
We can go ahead. Let's go ahead and put both of them in. We can just
Okay.
vote on them
Yeah,
together.
sure. So the total there's 5,250 there for both of them. So it's 1,750 or 1,750 for event supplies. So and we're cutting all of that.
What was that amount?
1,750. Yeah.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
Going to continue. So now line item is special events for UPC. Subline item. Sorry, we're good. Special events is the line item. Subline item, unnamed event number 2. General supplies. And there's 4,000 there currently, and we're cutting all of that. And then also we're doing, for the same event, we're doing food and beverage. and there's currently 2,000 there, and we're cutting all of that.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
Continuing on, UPC again, Tiger Knights is the line item. Subline item, unnamed event number 2. Cutting food and beverage. Currently it is $2,000 and we're cutting all of that. And then under the same event, we're also cutting event supplies again. It's currently $1,000 and we're cutting all of that. And then under the same event, vendor equipment rental under subline item. Currently it's $4,000 and we're cutting all of that also.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
And then lastly, line item video games. Subline item event supplies. It's currently $3,000 and we're cutting $2,500. And then also under video games, subline item an unnamed event number 1. Currently sits at $3,000 and we're cutting $1,500.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
Pass.
Schlimmer business, student organizations, student organization training. It is currently at 8,000 and we would like to cut 1,000.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Student organizations, marketing and office supplies. Currently at 2,000 and we would like to cut 500.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
Smith CLA, SGA, under the line item Senate, under the Senate retreat line item, is currently $1,000 in the line item, and I move to cut all of it.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
Also have a second one, this under the initiatives line item. We have to do it line item. Oh, this one? Okay. Initiatives and then safety projects. There's currently $500 in there. We moved to cut all of it as well.
Is there a second?
Oh, wait 1 second. 1 second. Wait. Oh, sorry. Could you change that to 250, please? How about that?
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
Oh, this one. Okay. And then I have another one as well. This one under Creek Day. And then for food and beverage, we moved to cut $800. And then also there's several line items.
How much is in it?
Oh, 800, and then we want to cut all of it, 800. And then there's another line item under that for Creek Day. And it is for entertainment, and it's $600, and then we like to cut all of it as well. And then for under Creek Day as well, for supplies, there's currently $600. We move to cut all of it.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved. Go to ISO now.
Price Engineering with ISO. This is under line item Mental Health Day, sub line item Event Supplies. Currently there's 200 in the budget and we're moving to cut all of it.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved. All right, we'll go back to BSU and circle back around.
Riles Agriculture, BSU, line item Community Service, general partner, and then subline item General Partnerships. And how much was it? And then it's $750, and we're looking to cut $250.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Jones Cadsey with service. I move to cut line item AUDM events, subline item main event. There's currently 7,000, and we move to cut 2,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Night in Business, SAP Leadership. Line item is retreats. Subline item is wind shape. We currently have 43,000, and we move to cut 1,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved. UPC.
Slumber business, student organizations. On a line item, it's going to be involvement ambassadors. Currently, there's 4,000. We like to cut 800.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Got one more, student organizations, and it's going to be O-Board administrative costs. There's 1,500 in there right now, and we'd like to cut $250.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved. Back to ISO.
Passes one.
All right, back to BSU.
Tally Human Sciences for media, and line item the glom, and then entire supplies. It's currently 500. Supplies. Sorry. It's currently 500, and we like to take away currently 1,000. Take away 500.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved. SGA.
Okay. 6,000. For SGA Communications and Marketing, and under that subline item, we have Campus Media and Engagement. Currently, there's 9,600, and we'd like to cut 6,000. Do you want to have 36? Yeah, okay.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Riles Agriculture BSU, line item first year experience, subline item first year experience collaboration. There's currently 250 in it, and we're looking to cut all of it.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Jones Cadsey for service. We're gonna cut Beat Bama Food Drive events, subline item the Hunger Banquet, and it's currently 2,000, and we're cutting 2,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Smith Engineering, SAP, UPC, line item Tiger Knights, sub line item laser tag with laser tag equipment. It's currently at 6,000, and we're cutting all of that. And then also under laser tag, same thing, but this time food and beverage currently sits at 3,000, and we're cutting all of that as well.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved. Back up to media.
Pass.
Okay, so we're going to move into proposed cuts, but before we do that, we're going to take a brief intermission just to allow everybody to talk some things over with advisors or anybody else. So we'll take a brief break for a second.
Like 5 to 7 minutes. Be back in seats after that.
We're gonna have to have someone.
Oh, you're good.
No worries. Take up one, it's great. It gives us reserves. Oh, engineering. Yeah, exactly.
So, if people attack us, that's what we do. But I have to speak to myself. There's some big dogs.
Sure, it was like I tried an hour and a half. We had 60,000 instead. But I think a lot of that too was like everybody was holding on tired because it's like we only have 60,000. We got 270, so they know when they got to go. So 3 weeks.
All of these I mean, that's pretty good.
Oh, really? Dang, like the video of it? Yeah, it's hilarious. That's when I get comfortable with Kai. Probably so. And we have to have them done by the first of the month. We got a little bit of time, but at the same time, like, I'll try to get it done. We'll probably just draft them through just like show them. I mean, honestly, I mean, it's every time they met, it's like this. So we'll set a time. So I could just it's pretty self-explanatory. You copy and paste your budget on the bill. So I just want to present those as official orders, not the Senate with the next, how it timeline, just make sure. But I think I would so yours this week passed.
Y'all feel free to keep having the conversations that you need to, but if you feel like you're settled and ready to start back, come on back to your seat. If you need to continue a conversation, that's fine.
Damn, they're ready to ride on services. Somebody who actually you want to play defense. You start playing offense. You start playing offense, then they have to target cities. So it's like, please go shoot.
Oh, they're almost much brighter than
I know.
Oh, is it still recording? Hello there. This is Jack Unger speaking. Can you hear me?
As long as it's not
Which merge.
We'll see. We'll see. Be generous.
Hey, Connor.
What's up?
Hola. How much have you guys decided to part with?
We're at like 16 and a half.
Okay.
Total, we're at nearly 60.
Just tonight.
Yeah, just tonight.
Just tonight.
Looking down on me with pity. But all right, that's good. Hopefully the math will start mathing.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. I don't want to.
Yeah, I really don't. I'm dip into our savings.
Yeah.
We were the generation that just sends our savings
Really want to
down.
meet you guys halfway.
We've got some. We got a lot. We got, I think, like 9 to 10.
Yeah.
I can't
Y'all got 10, y'all got 10 or roughly.
If I can add.
They've got 10 too, so we're at.
But see, I don't want them asking you about your service.
All right, y'all, let's start making our way back to
So
seats
they're
if
willing,
we can.
like they did it themselves. It's basically friendly.
We'll see. We shall see.
Y'all, as we get started back in a second, Senator Treadwell is going to open it back up if anybody's got any additional friendly cuts that they want to make before BNF moves to proposed cuts. Regardless, I just want to chime in real quick just to share some general encouragement. Again, I'm Brad Smith, Director of Student Involvement, gotten to watch this process many years for a long time, and every year is very different, and this is one of those tough years where we've got a lot that you guys are having to make some difficult decisions on, especially as we move into proposed cuts potentially here in a second. I just really want to remind y'all, this is you need to be able to see this entire process as this collective team process for you, all of you, BNF senators and SAO representatives. You're trying to make those decisions for the whole student body about what they want their student activity fees spent on. And so as you're trying to make some of these difficult decisions, maybe over the next few minutes, that's what your mindset should be, is what do I think most Auburn students would want me to say right now, or would want me to cut right now in order to preserve these other things. And so just remember, it's not about protecting your own all the time and being divisive and whatever. You guys are one team, hopefully, even though that's really hard to think about it that way. But you guys were elected and appointed and selected to these positions to make these hard, difficult, uncomfortable decisions on behalf of the student body for how they want their $54 or $56 spent over this year ahead. So thank you guys for the work you're already doing to get us there. We're getting closer. And I'm going to turn it back over to Senator Treadwell.
Thank you, Brad. With that, we'll turn it back over to just friendly cuts, not in any kind of order, but if anybody has anything to cut before we go into proposed cuts, that would be awesome.
Student organizations, it's only going to be on one we've previously cut, student organization training. It was originally at 8,000. We've already cut 1,000, and we want to cut an additional 1,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
And then line item marketing and office supplies. It was originally at 2,000. We've already cut 500, and we'd like to cut an additional 500.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Jones Cadsey service. The line item is impact local service, and the sub line item is special events. And it's currently 5,000, and we're gonna cut 2,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
And then still service, impact major service events. under subline item events. Just events. Sorry. And then it's at 7,000, and we're gonna cut 3,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
All right, for SGA and under SGA leadership training, under food and beverage, there's currently $2,000, and we would like to cut $1,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Again, under SGA for executive council, under name tags, there's currently $1,200. We move to cut $1,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
There's also another one under elections. And then for judge supplies line item, there's currently $1,000. We move to cut $500.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
And then again, under external affairs, we currently have $1,000. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Lobby board expenses. And then cut $1,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Smith Engineering, line item campus traditions, subline item unnamed spring event number 1, vendor contracts. There's currently 2,500 there. We're cutting all of that. And then also same subline item, event supplies. There's currently 500 there. We're cutting all of that. Keep going. Under line item special events, subline item unnamed event number 1, general supplies. There's currently 4,000 there, and we're cutting all of that. And then also same subline item, but this time food and beverage. There's currently 2,000 there, and we're cutting all of that as well. And then lastly, line item Tiger Nights, subline item unnamed event number 1, food and beverage. Currently $250 there, cutting all of that. Same subline item, except this time event supplies. Currently $250 there, cutting all of that. And then lastly, same subline item, but vendor equipment rental. And there is currently 7,000 there, and we are cutting all of that.
Is there a second on all of these cuts?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass these cuts, say aye. So moved. Yeah, let's just go through one more time with friendly cuts, starting with BSU.
Price Engineering, ISO. This is line item office supplies and equipment. Subline item computer lease. Right now it's 150 and we're cutting all of it.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved. SGA?
Pass.
Okay, well, if there are no more friendly cuts any SAP is willing to make, and the budget still isn't balanced, then the BNF committee will be required to make proposed cuts. Senators with a proposed cut should raise their hand and will be recognized by the Budget and Finance Chair to make a formal motion to cut a specific line item in an SAP's budget. This does not have to be for the SAP that they are representing. Again, the senator will need to refer to the SAP, the line item name they are proposing to cut, the current amount requested in that line item, the amount of the proposed cut, and the line item balance if the proposed cut is approved. This process will continue until the overall budget is balanced. So with that, any proposed cuts?
May we inquire about a certain event before we decide? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good question. This is definitely a time where it is okay for time to be yielded to some of you as the SAO representatives to say like, hey, here's what impact that would have if that thing was cut, so that everybody's working off of as much context and information as they can be.
Alright, and this is gonna be kind of hard, but I noticed under UPC, there are several unnamed events, and I guess it's kind of hard to see without like scrolling through all of it. Is there a way you can give me like a quick scroll, if you don't mind? Sorry. Thank you, sorry. Trying to get an idea of everything. I guess this is directed towards UPC. As far as concoursing, was that removed previously? I don't know if it was.
No.
Is there any wiggle room with that?
We cut around $7,000 during the preliminary hearing, so the wiggle room we did have, we've already.
Okay. Okay.
We'd like to propose cook service on general events, $3,000.
So the line item is general events, and this, is there any sub-line item or no? And the current amount is, anybody know? $8,000? $3,000? We're proposing to cut how much? $3,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion?
Do y'all need that?
That's fine.
This is a time
Is
to
the-
yield to the person sitting next to you or to staff if you need to. Whatever y'all need to do.
Good. All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? This cut is passed.
I have another question for UPC in regards to the initiative fund. What is all in that?
Yes, so as the programming board, all organizations typically come to us for event programming advice and help and assistance in that because that is our realm. And so the Tiger Nights Initiative was formed around 3 years ago, and it supports organizations that want to have that late night programming but don't exactly know how to do it or don't have the funds. Since we are the programming board, we have those funds to offer, and so it just kind of helps them balance that budget and offer those options to more organizations that aren't usually represented in the programming council. So like in the past, the first year we didn't have this external collaborations fund, so we used it for the Black History speaker. We contributed $10,000 to that, and we use it for other events with like the African Association, Student Association, sorry if I said that wrong, for an event that they had last year, and so it's just kind of helping those expensive for those smaller and not as long
Okay.
organizations.
Okay. I move for UPC, unfortunately, for Tiger Nights, under the Tiger Nights initiative. They currently have $21,500.
How much?
$21,500, and I move to cut $19,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion?
Discussion. That's like the entire fund, and basically every program you see on campus is UPC or partnership. Thank you. Sorry. With UPC, so by cutting that, you're basically cutting off UPC from helping anyone. Really.
I understand that. I just kind of see it from the viewpoint that you guys already do have an extensive list of events, and if in the future, if you guys do need money, this budget is proportioned to allow for you guys to come back to request more money, but this will kind of like give us the wiggle room we need right now. I think we left $2,500. That should be on average. I mean, it's 2 or 3 events that an organization might need, but in the future, if you guys do need more, you guys can come back.
That's not incredibly accurate. I don't have my like tracking with me, but the events usually are higher expenses. That's why they come to us, because we know how to plan those events. And yes, there's wiggle room and like expenses, but I don't want to go to the BNF board in the future and submit a PEF or reserve fund if it's not for UPC. These aren't just UPC events. They're events for the student body. They're not just planned by UPC. They're not just ran by UPC. It's to get that experience and extra culture exposure and everything. So it's just super important to UPC's mission and purpose, because UPC's mission isn't to just host events by us, because we are all organization, all campus.
Okay. Would you be willing to change the amount that we cut just to make it kind of evened out?
Even out compared to?
Just because we have this total, in my opinion, I feel like UPC has the highest budget because it has the highest increase in the amount. You guys do have almost close to $1 million, and most people increase their budget like maybe around 20%. And when I did my calculations last time, you guys were higher. And so I know we do have a higher student body, but that also comes with a higher student need, if that makes sense. And if in the future, if you guys do need it, I mean, you have my word, like, no one else is asking for anything, you know, you guys can feel free to come back, if that makes sense.
Let me just share real quick, as these conversations will probably continue to happen over different things. At the end of the day, our debate needs to be between our elected senators. But we do need those of you that are the treasurers and representatives for your SEOs, provide them with the factual context that they ask you for to help them make as informed decisions as they can.
I believe it was around like 700, around that. I mean, it's between, they can always come back to this. And it'll be under the same line item. We don't even know the details.
Smith Engineering. I moved rather than to cut just 19 grand from that line item and sub-line item, just cut the whole thing. Yeah.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion on this new proposed cut? With that being said, all those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. This cut has passed.
I do want to share just some context with everybody for how our student organization's O Fund is available as well. So in a bunch of different organizations in this room, we've had different funds available for those other people to come to us and ask for money. UPC just being one of those. And I think if we've got a cut like this that has happened, I think we have an opportunity to make sure we continue to point student orgs that need that kind of funding. Go to your expert, the organization's board, for that funding that you need to put on events, to put on other things. And as we recognize, hey, these registered student orgs that are these smaller orgs that are out there need more funding for events, then that's where the organization's board can really think through what their guidelines are for how much funding they can give to these RSOs. And so I think even with a cut like this one, organizations will still have the opportunity to request funding for events, either with UPC or not.
From student organizations, we've already cut from involvement ambassadors. This is a line item. It was originally 4,000, and we cut 800. We'd like to cut an additional 500.
Sorry, say those numbers again.
It was originally 4,000. We have already cut 800. We'd like to cut another 500. And then I also have a question for the SGA.
Yeah, let's pass your cut first, and then go to that. Is there a second on this cut? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Continue.
And my question for SGA is for communications and marketing. What is the $21,100 going toward?
Yeah, so right now, CNM is currently in the red. They had like some promotional stuff that they wanted to do in terms of like media and engagement. And I think like sweatshirts and things of that nature. In terms of cuts, the only cut that I would be willing to make that would be feasible for them, being that we already bought campus, like being that we already cut 6,000 for them, and like right now I think they're in the red like over 14K. So like with them already being in the red over 14K and like don't even have any money, and they've been in the red since August or like really like since the summer. I already cut 6,000 from campus media and engagement. The only other cut that I would propose or that I would make would be in terms of cabinet administration promotions, and I would cut that by from 4,000 to 1,500. So initially 3,500.
Jonathan, would you like to make that motion?
Yes. So SGA, cabinet administration promotions. Oh, Control X and move that over to cell. I'm sorry. And then that's originally communications and marketing.
Sorry. So the line item is
Communications and marketing. If you just okay, and 2,500.
cut 2,500.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Night in business, proposed cut for SAP leadership. Line item is events. Subline item is collaborative events. Currently available, we have 2,500. We moved to cut 1,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Then we have another cut too.
Okay.
The line item is promotion. The subline item is advertising. We currently have 3,000, and we moved to cut 1,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
John.
Sorry, I have another question for UPC. I noticed for the the student center takeover, you guys have arcades at 10,000. Being that we have the game room now, could you adjust the cost for what it would be for you just to use the game room instead of renting out entirely new arcades if possible?
She says no.
Okay. I guess I just moved to a UPC. I believe it's under Tiger Nights, and then for student takeover, student center takeover, and from 10,000, I moved to change it to if you can cut 7,000, because that's the original cost for using the game center for another event.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion?
Arcade games and the game room are two different things. The game room, I don't know if you've been in it, it's like in like individual screens, individual games, and like it's not the same as an arcade. Like there's not arcade games in the game room. That's kind of the Student Center Takeover, it was our most popular room at the Student Center Takeover. We have a claw machine. It built a community around a claw machine because there were squishmallows. And the $10,000 is just the vendor contract. Like, that's how much it costs. And we really don't want to take that away because it was our most popular thing at the Student Center Takeover. And it, like, the community that was built in that room is different from the community that would be built in the game. It appeals to a different group.
I understand what you're saying. I feel you. I know it's hard, but I just feel from the students just paid, I think, over $300,000 for a game room. I just feel like it would be more feasible to use what we have. You know, I know it sucks, but I feel like this is the most feasible right now. And if in the future, if there's still money left over, you know, you guys can still come back. These are just the initial things we need to make, if that makes sense.
Is there any debate between senators?
We're looking at possibly cutting a completely different event because the thing is, with the Student Center Takeover, when you remove that amount from arcade games, it basically destroys the whole event. So you might as well just cut everything from the event. That's kind of one of the main attractions. So we're looking at possibly murder mystery would cover that, and we would be able to maintain the Student Center Takeover. With murder mystery being a bit of a smaller event, be less of a cut, at least on that big event. So we would like to move over to murder mystery rather than take out an integral part of that big event. So rather than Student Center Takeover arcade games,
Are you willing to amend your motion, Jonathan?
I'm trying to.
Just to clarify, Jonathan.
Is that under Tiger Knights?
Tiger Knights, and it's 11,000 total for the murder mystery.
Can you guys get it to a more manageable amount?
We're completely taking that out because it's destroying basically the Student Center Takeover. We wanted to keep that.
I can agree to that.
All right, Senator Smith, what's your motion?
I motion to cut line item Tiger Knights, subline item murder mystery, entertainment. It's currently 5,000, and we're cutting 5,000. And then also same subline item, food and beverage, 6,000, and we're cutting all of that also.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Night in business. I just have a question for media under the subline item OSI marketing materials and ads. Noticed it was 75,000. Just wondering, like,
Which organizations?
I think it was y'all student media. It says involvement, administrative, final budget, but it has like the Glomerato under it and stuff. Is it the wrong?
Yes, that is actually the office-wide administrative budget. So the GLOM pieces that you're seeing there, instead of every organization having a line for their GLOM contract in their budget, we build that all into the one central student involvement administrative budget. And so the packages are set costs that are set by the GLOM, and so each of the organizations have their kind of standard amount of pages that they normally purchase, and that's what those numbers are based off of. Yeah.
I have a question for SGA again. For the Heyday event, I see it's requested $46,000. I remember from last year, it's a big event. I get that. My question is there anything we could cut from that? I see under as entertainment, food and beverage, supplies, tents, t-shirts. Is there anything we could cut from that? Maybe to make that budget a little bit smaller, like maybe don't give out t-shirts or don't do food or something along those lines, make that budget a little bit smaller.
Well, t-shirts and food has always been like a part of it. It's one of those things where like last year it was requested like 750, somewhere between 750 and 750. And we went into red and we spent 42,000 bucks. So like with the market, with inflation, with like the price of everything now, we're targeting around $45,000. So like it's one of those things where like if we were to cut the budget, it's just going to go right back to the Senate floor and ask for a program expansion fund request. Because like the planning that they've been doing, and the money that they've like with the planning that they've been doing with the budget that they propose, they're looking to spend exactly what we have allocated here on the budget, if not more. So that's my take on that.
One more question I have about that event. Do you know off the top of your head how much you are spending on tents alone? Because I feel like that's something you could take out of the Heyday event and still have the whole event. You could do the t-shirts, the entertainment, and all that, but just don't spend the money on tents.
Yeah, so well, now that I'm looking, last year we actually spent $45,000. It went into red $45,000. So I gave them that same amount, knowing that's what we spent. Tents being that it's on the green space, we will spend $4,000 on tents. Just being that it's on the green space. But in tents this year are around $6,000. So that's still like lowballing it with saying it's $4,000. Like the actual price of tents that we will be renting and using are $6,000. So, and we put $4,000 when in reality we should have probably put $6,000. But for the sake of the budget and the cuts that we have to make, we left it at $4,000. So like I said, no matter like how many cuts to be made, it's just going to go back on the Senate floor and ask a request for for more money. And I don't see why we would cut that, being that it takes place on October 18th anyways. But we just can't afford to make any cuts today. It's one of those things where like you make cuts when it's time to like do these hearings, and it goes right back to the Senate floor. You spend more money and it ends up in red, which is why we requested the same amount. So with tents being like 6,000 and 4,000. In all actuality, we probably should have requested anywhere around 47,500, but we kept it at 45 for the sake of the budget, knowing that we went in the red to 45 grand last year. So I'm just not seeing why we would cut that.
Personally, I just feel like tents would take away from the experience itself. You could still have the whole event and just not have coverage from the slot. Where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I get that, but with us being in Alabama and with this heat, I wouldn't want to stand in the sun and serve barbecue sandwiches and stuff. That's just me personally. And I'm not a part of the Heyday team. I don't know everything that they have planned, but I know the tents get utilized every year. So I don't feel comfortable stripping $4,000 in tents. But I know they're probably planning to use them. That team has been working really hard. They're going to be out there all day. And I'm just not seeing why we would strip $4,000 in tents.
I've got a quick question. Y'all do have SGA, we have the SGA.
All right, let's pause here. Let's keep debate between senators only, just for future reference from here on out.
SGA branded tents inside the suite that we could possibly use instead of room tents.
I know we have.
Let's let Senator Smith
I know we have 3,
talk.
but another thing with the tent, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Like I know we have 3 SGA branded tents, but we have like 12 name tag stations. Like throughout the green space, which is like another reason why we need the tent. So we need to rent the tents, and that's why it's in the budget. We've already like underestimated the cost of tents. With tents being $6,000 and we only requested $4,000, there's still probably going to be a request that comes across the Senate floor to actually like pay for the tents. So we need the tents. It's name tag stations. The tents will be utilized. They get utilized every year. I don't plan heyday, but when I was a senator, I signed up to get my involvement hours, and the tents are utilized. But that's just the budget, and that's how it's going to be. I don't want to make any cuts to it because the event is October 18th, like I said. And if we make cuts, a program expansion fund request is going to come right across the Senate floor in a week or two. But that's already being in September. So.
Night in business. I have a question for student organizations about the involvement fair. I went to it. I thought it was awesome. I was just wondering like what the 10,000 was from, just because I noticed it was like mostly like tables, and it looked like a lot of it was just like self-provided. So I was just wondering like what most of that was from.
So a lot of that was this year we actually spent about 8,700, and we had a lot of people who actually participated. We ranked around 500. We had 800 until we actually broke in the check-in app. The app actually just stopped working because we maxed it out. Next year we're looking at a lot of growth for that organizations, but then we believe that it will be maybe double to triple the scores that we have there this time. Like I said, we spent around $8,700 for this, but next year we plan on making that a very much more large scale event. And like I said, it was a great success. It was the first thing that we actually ever brought outside. And with that, we had many more students than we initially thought. Like I said, we got so many that we couldn't even bring in the numbers that we had. And that $8,700 is basically we have that 10,000 there too. So I count for the growth that we're planning on.
So is the check-in app, is that like part of like the fee or?
The check-in app, it's just all SA education. All SA is like these checks.
I got you.
It's like services. Yeah, but it's just something that is part to all as it is. So the cost is primarily rental fees, that dry water, just different rental costs.
Smith Engineering. Got a quick question for SGA back on the tents. So talking with UPC for some of their events, they've rented out tents for nearly $5,000 and got 25 tents out of that. They've shown me the service that they use. Curious about if you know the service that you use for that event, and if there's a way to minimize your cost there.
I don't know which service that they use. I know Outdoor Events is the name of the vendor that we use. So I don't know the service that they use. Like I said, I just control the budget. I am not a cabinet member that supports Heyday. I just control the budget and get a detailed budget of what they need. But I know as far as our vendor, we use Outdoor Events.
Okay.
I'm not sure who UPC uses. But yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question for legal. It's under student media. I hate to be bare bones, but I noticed that you guys have 2,000 for uniforms. Is there a way, instead of going for uniforms, could we take off 1,000 that's for just t-shirts and leave on the 1,000 for leadership and staff, if possible?
So, I can explain what the t-shirts are for. So, and Billy, correct me if I'm wrong, but the t-shirts are specifically for students who are not on leadership, and so a lot of times with concerts on campus that they hold, the student leaders get to be volunteers at that event and put that on, and so that's their way of representing legal. There are a lot more students on staff than the leadership that can wear like the leadership materials, so that's what that would be. And other events too, but mostly concerts on campus.
So that's, is there a way where you can make it where only the leadership gets the $1,000 and then unfortunately have where students, or you can come in the future for a budget request where you guys for just right now just have your shirts just for leadership or staff, if possible.
If that is what you would recommend.
Would that work for you guys just for right now and to the future, if you guys could come back in front of Senate and then request would that work?
It's not my place to guide y'all on what decisions to make, but what I will encourage BNF senators to consider is a lot of our organizations have uniforms and t-shirts that we are providing to committee level members, represent the org as uniform different things. So if we were to make a cut to one organization in that way, it would probably be something we need to be looking at doing uniformly across the board and have a standard for how we're doing that. So it's fair to everybody.
Okay. Okay, well, we can do that for is it media or legal? For the student organization.
What do you mean?
For media, to create the line item to cut for media.
So you are proposing to cut media?
Yes, sir.
Line item?
It's under uniforms. And then cut just the t-shirts. And it's $1,000, and I propose to cut the entire thing.
Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? All right, we'll bring it to a vote. All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, this cut is passed. All right, so at this point, we are sitting at $82,000 left to cut, and we're sitting at 9 o'clock also. So I just want to check in with y'all. Are y'all good to keep going, or do y'all want to push it to a second night? Keep going?
When would the second night be?
We would have to figure that out probably next week at this point, just because Fridays are obviously tough, but which would also kind of mess up our process and bring it to the Senate floor as a side note.
When do we need to bring it to the Senate floor?
We can't do it this week, obviously, because that's already passed through exec, so we'd have to do that the next week as future orders, and the next week as current orders, which would be September 25th, I believe. To get those passed, we need these done by October 1st. So, good to keep going, or all right. And from here on out, let's just have debate between senators only. And if you need to yield your time to your person or to advisors, that's totally fine.
Smith Engineering. I have a question for student media regarding the live events subline item under Weagle's budget. With the concert on campus talent fee, $6,000. Would you be willing to collaborate with UPC going forward? Because they mentioned that you guys already kind of have a little bit of collaboration between you, rather than having that line item, or you kind of expand on what that looks like, and if you'd be willing to work with UPC on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna double check because that line item we already cut from last year. Basically in order, so last year with the live events and conferences on campus, we put on more last year than we're planning on this year so that we can focus on the quality of events. So we've already cut ourselves, let me go double check, but I think it's 6,000 that we've already cut ourselves. So they're really trying to build that up internally. We're trying to build that up internally. So.
So, Emma, we would be considering, rather than, like she said, building that up internally, we would be moving to do external collaboration with UPC. They've offered that. Lily has offered that. So, just offering to collaborate with UPC and their events in terms of like concerts, live events like that, collaborating with Weagle rather than you guys having to kind of have that line item yourselves, working with UPC rather than having that $6,000 to build from within. Yeah.
I would to. Do you think you'd be willing to cut them in spring football concert to see here? We'll cut spring concert and we just have those with spring. So like we have battle of the bands and fall concert. It would eliminate incentive from our staff if you didn't have them in the fall and only had them. If we yeah. Okay. Okay, that was just a question.
Thank you.
I have a question for Emerge. Correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all have 2 etiquette dinners, correct? So $6,000 for all of it, $3,000 for each. Is there a way you could take away an etiquette dinner or lower the cost of each of them?
Night in business, for SAP leadership, line item, events, subline item, etiquette dinners. Current amount is 6,000, and we propose to cut 750.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Jones Service, inquiring about Emerge leadership. We're just gonna go ahead and cut line item collaborative events and just cut the 1,500 that's left.
Say that again.
Just cut the 1,500. There's no, I don't think there's subline item. Or it's under events, subline item, collaborative events. Sorry. And just cutting the rest.
So there's 1,500 cut.
Yes.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion?
I'd like to have a discussion really quick. The merge has already cut around 15% of their budget. We have the smallest budget. I'm sure y'all haven't done the math on yours, but I'm pretty sure most of the organizations here haven't cut quite as near that much yet. So that's like all I've got for this discussion if anyone decides to change their vote. But I do understand where y'all are coming from, just cutting all of it. So, but I just thought I would lay that out there in terms of like our budget and stuff. But yeah.
Is there a rebuttal? No. All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. All those opposed? This cut is passed.
I have a question for BSU. It regards the Fall Forum event. I would propose to completely get rid of the Fall Forum event just because it seems as BSU has a lot of events like the three right before Fall Forum on your lines, line item 4, line item 3, and line item 2. 2 is Quick Ties, 3 is Breakfast for You, 4 is Fresh Start Frenzy, and then it's Fall Forum. Then line item 6 is Unity Week, and it goes on. So you have a lot of events that you may could possibly cut that one out. And for instance, that event is right now it is $6,750, and I feel like that's an event that could be cut from the budget, considering all the things you have prior and post to that event.
Was that a formal proposition? Okay. You propose that so we can get it.
In regards to Fall Forum, it's a movie company. The contract's already been signed, and the money's been spent. And travel arrangement in Mace, that would be something we couldn't cut, unfortunately.
Is there any of those events like Quick Ties, Breakfast for You, Fresh Start Frenzy? It seems like there's a lot of events in there that could possibly be cut out. It seemed like an overkill of events for collaboration. Is there any of those that you'd be willing to give up?
Yeah, we'd be okay combining Quick Ties and Fresh Start Frenzy, which I guess as of right now would be 3,100, and cutting it to 3,000, combining those two together. But they've already happened. So there too. Oh, sorry, my bad.
So you'd like to cut from 3,100 to 3,000?
Yeah. 28. Sorry.
28.
Propose the cut.
I propose to combine Quick Ties and Fresh Start Frenzy to combine those two events.
So what's the line item that we're cutting from? Or proposing to cut from?
Quick Ties, the second line item, and then it's going to be Fresh Start Frenzy. And like to combine those two, which would be a total of $3,100, and like to cut to $2,800.
Somebody clarify for me.
So Quick Ties,
Cutting.
Quick Ties is a line item event, as well as Fresh Start Frenzy is a
different.
They're different, but they want to combine those two.
Yep. So what is Quick Ties at right now?
Quick Ties is at $1,200.
And Fresh Start Frenzy is at
$1,900. And they want to combine those two and then cut $3,000 from it.
Yeah, 300, 3,000, 2,800, or 3,100 to 2,800.
All right, so one more time. The combined amount is how much? 31?
Yes. 31, yes, sir.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
Hey Brad, I noticed what you're talking about for the uniforms. I looked through and I only noticed that UPC had uniforms. So I want to see, is there any way that, I know there's $10,000. Could you guys kind of explain how you guys got $10,000 for uniforms, and if you guys can change it to where just the executives get the uniforms if possible?
Yeah, we're gonna table that for now. I've actually got a proposal. So Smith Engineering, I moved to cut it's line item special events, sub line item spring concert, musician talent. It's at $25,000 right now, and we're cutting all of it. Same subline item, production supplies. It's at $10,000 right now, and we're cutting all of it. And then same subline item, food and beverage. It's at $4,000 right now, and we're also cutting all of it.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut say aye. So moved.
Night in business. I had a question for service about the Give Pulse license. Didn't you guys say that was to track like the service hours and stuff? I was just seeing if you guys were aware of any other like maybe cheaper software to track it, or kind of like what the deal is with tracking service hours. Because like I wasn't really aware that there was like software for that. If that was like a thing. If you guys could just kind of like explain that.
It's a contract with them, so it's going to be a set amount, and I think it's been the same amount for a while now. And as I understand it, it's basically just tracking their service hours, so it's been made like in one app essentially, but it's a contract. So.
Okay.
I can help explain a little bit. So on AU Involve, the last tab that you find typically is the service tab. And so it not only tracks hours, but it displays, just like AU Involve shows all the lists of events for students, it shows the list of organizations for students. Give Pulse within AU Involve shows the list of all student community service opportunities for students. And that company, Give Pulse, has an integration with the company that provides AU Involve that work together.
So it's like verifying it and showing like that you can go to like these events. So, okay, that makes more sense. All right.
I have a question for SGA. Since we just agreed that we should cut uniforms across the board, are y'all willing to cut anything on your uniforms? Or on t-shirts, sorry, you have 10,500 right now? Correct me if I'm wrong. For Heyday, sorry.
So the question at hand is about cutting t-shirts from SGA.
For Heyday.
For Heyday.
Well, I mean, when we think Heyday t-shirts, those aren't uniforms, and those are, for showing shirts and providing shirts for volunteers.
So what do the volunteers wear? The t-shirts? Okay, so is there a way you could sell shirts maybe instead?
We do.
You do? Okay. So if you're not considering to do that, could you maybe, instead of $21,000 on food, go to $20,000 for Heyday Still Food and Beverages?
So you're proposing that we cut 1,000 from food and beverages?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, we can cut 1,000. We can take food and beverages from 21,000 to 20,000. So we can cut 1,000.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved. Are there any more proposed cuts?
Can you guys scroll back up to the Miss Auburn line item that we cut previously? Okay, well, I'd like to make an adjustment to that line item for SGA for Miss Auburn, and then for projects and supplies. Oh, sorry, got ahead of myself. It's projects and supplies is a subline item, and cut 1,000.
We got it down to 3,000 earlier, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, say aye. So moved.
Jones, CADC service. I'm proposing to cut from impact leadership training. Subline item, breakaway membership and training. And currently it's at 4,750, and we're gonna cut 1,750.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor of this cut, please say aye. So moved.
Okay, Jones, CADC service, under AUDM events. Oh, that's a lie. Sorry. For its impact leadership training. Breakaway membership training. We're just gonna cut the 3,000 completely.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor to pass this cut, please say aye. So moved. Are there any more proposed cuts? All right, we're going to take a brief couple minutes at this time to discuss just BNF senators. So if y'all could come this way.
Anything else to just clarify? We'll debrief this more later, but I do think there's a few cuts we've made. We may need to reevaluate as a group. Whether we really want to go back to some of those organizations. Cut to one t-shirts. Should be consistent with that. And I don't know if the answer is to finish it or to maybe take back what we've done. So it's not unfair to that one group that's very that way. And the challenging thing is that you're not going to be able to make decisions on like this. Everybody's got those t-shirt type items living in different line items with different names, and if you're not going to be able to figure out right this second how many people are getting them, and that probably is a standard that y'all need to talk about for your successors. Hey, when you tell people to make budgets next year, this is the standard for what you can ask for when it comes to t-shirts. But so there may be one or two things we want to get cut, but we can maybe take back in a BNF meeting and then report back later on and say, hey, we're going to give you that back in your budget as long as we stay at a balanced budget. So we might end up having less from this new year's money be at the reserve. We don't have to use old money for that. It's okay. So there may be a few things like that we need to evaluate. If y'all decide at this point you want to say, done, we're going to move forward with where we are for our final budget that we sent to Senate, that's okay with me. That's y'all's decision. I have a question about this. So you guys plan to keep the spring concert, which is around 30,000, and there's also a concert. She went to the fall one, it was like 20,000. It's 25, but the other is 75. Probably. Is that something you're going to ask? I'll ask her. That's the bigger artist. Is that kind of I don't know. Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't know if y'all were also having about two concerts.
I've done work on that, like going from the amounts of really like set in stone, like on a certain artist, you're gonna have to pay up, even with like what we consider big artists, they're still very expensive. Like Brad and I talked about that in Jamie. I mean, it's just very hard. Even the 100,000, it might be only 70K going to the artist, because there's 30K production.
And then out of that 70, part of that's going to a headliner and part of that's going to an opener. Yeah. So it gets watered down quickly. I think this is the moment where you guys have to think through, like, what do you think students want? Do they want one big, huge concert with this big name every year? Or do they want two medium concerts? And So those are the things that not to ask about.
I know they've been they've been medium sized, but I just normally like, so I think for the past years, Brad and I talked about how there's normally at capacity or there's not enough seats for students. So this is, you know,
In the fall.
In the fall, for the fall and after the spring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think they get them in advance, but they keep it kind of, yeah, that makes sense.
So since I doubt y'all are gonna have some kind of change on that tonight, I think you can probably begin that conversation further in another meeting. But for tonight, we're gonna have what's your decision?
What do people usually like with the reserve fund, like in years past, like if we had, would you say like 16,000 this year? Like what would that
From
look?
this year's essay. So we still have it.
Yeah. So you've got 16,000 of the money that students are gonna pay in student activity fees this year. That does not count the almost 4 million of reserve fund money from the past that can also be utilized for reserve fund requests and program expansion requests. The challenge is you can't do that for eternity because at some point you run out of that reserve fund money. So you don't always want to have an unsustainable budget. But in the situation that y'all are in, if you feel like you make the cuts that you can make.
But we are in a sustainable budget. We're below budget.
Right now, yeah, because remember, y'all set aside an extra 50 and you're down to only got 33.
So my opinion, we put the $16,000 in the reserve fund, which only has $4 million in it. We're still putting money in, we're not taking any action. So in my opinion,
In all likelihood, hopefully y'all receive more than $16,000 worth of PDF and RFR requests this year. So you are going to end up using more than that and dipping into the old reserve fund money. But if we knew that was a potential from the beginning and that's the decision that y'all want to make, then go for it.
How much did you use last year?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Wasn't I don't think it did have one camera, the systems for Eagle.
If I had to guess off the top of my head, I bet it was around 50, something like that.
But mine is
but every year could be completely different. You could have a group say like, we want to create a whole new $10,000 concert. It just, you never know.
I think we're good. I hope we won't have any big tickets.
All right. If y'all are good, then let's call everybody back together and let them know what's going on.
If y'all could all find your seats, please. All right. All right. So at this point, we have, because we set aside an original 50,000 for RFRs and PEFs, we have balanced the budget for this year. So great job, guys. Thank you all for bearing with us in that process. So kind of the next step is the Budget and Finance Committee will now be writing legislation and passing it through the SGA Senate floor to confirm approval of your full budget request for usage in the new fiscal year, which begins on October 1st. SAP representatives, you will not be required to attend the upcoming Senate meetings where the legislation will be considered. We will reach out to you if it is determined that any adjustments are needed. Now, let me remind you of your 4 important expectations of you for the weeks and months ahead as we enter a new fiscal year. Your money is being allocated to a specific line item, and it is expected that the funds allocated are used only for those specific purposes. If for any reason you decide you need to use money in a different manner or move money from one line item to another, you must request approval through the Budget and Finance Committee according to the Code of Laws. You may bring this type of request to your BNF representative at any time throughout the year. 2, during the year, we encourage you to use our form on an AU Involved to submit any reserve fund or program expansion fund requests if you realize you need more money for something or have a new program or project that you want to provide for students. Also, feel free to reach out to your BNF representative at any time to talk through your needs. With this said, remember that there will be limited funds available for PEFs and RFRs this year. So it is likely that not all of them will be approved, meaning it is important for you to request the money proactively rather than after something has happened. 3, each year the BNF committee conducts a carryover request process in late October to handle the carryover of some money from the previous fiscal year to the new fiscal year to cover expenses from the previous year. You will be allowed to carry over money left over from last year's budget only if there are purchases you have already made but that have not yet made it through the university's budget process. Student representatives, please work closely with your advisors and admins to determine if you have any line items that you will need to carry over money for to cover recent expenses that don't get fully processed on September's budget. Any other money that you have left over from last year will be moved into the reserve fund and used for future PEFs and RFR requests. We will email you instructions soon for submitting any carryover requests that you have. Lastly, make sure to use the budget tracker that we will provide to you soon to track all of your expenses on a weekly basis throughout the year. This will take good communication between students, advisors, and admin. We will expect every organization to be thoroughly and consistently managing their own budget tracker by remaining in close communication between students, advisors, and admins. These trackers will help you record every expense that your organization has so that you can be aware of where you stand, and they will also provide a great tool to pass on to your successor for when they are budgeting next year. To close, we have balanced the budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024, and the Budget and Finance Committee will spend the next 2 weeks going through the process of having the Student Senate confirm the budgets before they are allocated out to you. Are there any questions? Thank you in advance for the ways in which you will responsibly serve the student body through the usage of their student activity fee being allocated to you. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, and War Eagle.